everyone, welcome to today's video. Today is going to be another short one, and it's just going to be me because it's mainly small items that are home decor, so I didn't really use Corey much for this one. He's been busy working on other projects. But anyway, I wanted to do this video because one of my pet peeves, and I'm about to get real with you guys, but one of my pet peeves is whenever you see DIYers that say, hey, I made this for free because they happen to have all of the tools. Well, I can be guilty of that as well because we have a lot of things and a lot of scrap wood and stuff so that we can make items for free, and I'll show you guys one of those that we did for this video. It's not realistic to expect everybody to have all of this, so if you happen to own something like this or any other item that you've bought for a DIY project, I want to encourage you to try and use it for other stuff around your house, to get creative with it so that you can actually get your money's worth and that the DIY is actually cheap for you to make, because if you only use it once, then it's not really cheap, is it? Okay, so the first item up is this wooden bowl. I always pick up wooden items whenever I find them, whether it's furniture or home decor, because it's really good to work with. I have this old books from estate sale, and then this wooden plate that you can also find at a craft store if you don't find one at the thrift store, a wooden block, and then the tray. This tray is actually a funny story, so let's start with that. I had bought it for $2, and I was going to upcycle it, but I ended up liking it with my home decor, so I kept it and had Corey build me a new one instead. And this is what I was talking about. We could build it for free because we actually have all the tools, the skill saw, or the miter saw, table saw, an air compressor, everything to do that. But I don't expect you guys to have all of that laying around, so if you just find a tray at the thrift store, you can go with that. So Corey's cutting a straight edge on one of the sides so that he has a reference line, and then he's gonna actually cut to the width that he needs to. Then he's gonna stack them all together so he can make just one cut with the miter saw. And then we're going to sand all of them. After they're all sanded and really smooth and cut to length, he's going to nail them, clamp them, and glue them. So for this step, he's going to bring the air compressor out because he doesn't have enough tools out to put up again after we're done. And then he's going to use pipe bond glue, which is one of our favorite ones to use, and then clamps to hold it together while the glue sets and while he nails it all together. So that was it, guys. It was a super easy project, but again, I don't expect y'all to have all the tools to just make this. So if you find a tray that you want to upcycle or whatever other item, go for it. Here it is in all of its glory. So now let's move to the rest of the items. So the mold releases, or the paper clay releases easier from this, and because it has a lot of detail, I want to put some cornstarch. I have mine in a little container just because it gets everywhere. That's probably too much. Just want to make sure you really do stuff it in there, because otherwise you're not going to get the full design. And you're going to remove the excess. I like to use this spatula. I have a metal one, but I'll put one here that you guys can buy. Those are plastic ones that are a little bit cheaper if you don't really have use for them. I find that it's easier to release when you flip them upside down because it gives you support to push them to the flat surface without destroying. So just for you to get an idea of why I like to apply them, to glue them onto the surface I'm using while it's still damp, it's because once they dry, they're really hard, and if you don't have contact, like you can see there, the entire surface is not making contact, so it's really hard to glue that onto the piece. So you want to glue them once they're still a little bit damp. So we're going to do all the molds for all the items that we are going to be working with, and once you have them done, I like to place them on the surface of the item I am working with, because I need to make sure that my spacing is right. I'd rather do this before I start gluing so I don't end up with an odd pattern because things didn't fit the way I wanted them. This way I can accommodate and create new molds or change my plan if I need to. You guys saw this video of us building this workbench for me to work on inside whenever I couldn't work outside, and it's working out great. As you can see, I'm using that drawer as a vise to hold this dish because it's really uneven, and then so I can tape all of the appliques or the decor molds in place. For the paint, I'm going to use Gravel Road by Dixie Belle. I love this color of gray. It's a really dark gray, and it's really contrasting with the dry brushing that we're gonna do because of the finish that we want. So go ahead and apply an even coat. You can usually get full coverage with this on one layer or one application, but I find that sometimes with stuff that has a lot of detail, you can't really see the parts that you missed until it dries. So I like to come back in and look at the parts that I've missed and do another coat if I need to, or like a half coat, you know, just touch up the parts that need it. So the next step is the dry brushing, and for this I'm going to use the Isabel Fluff. It's one of my favorite whites that I'm going to dab off of the excess of the paint onto the lid, as you saw me do that earlier, because we don't want full coverage on this. We want that gray contrasting color to show through. The good thing is that since these are wooden items and it's also chalk paint, it's thick and it does leave some texture, so whenever you dry brushing, the base color will show through. So I'm going back with the gravel road just to touch up the parts that have too much white. And then we're going to move on to the final step, which is sealing. These are decor items, so you don't really need a heavy duty top coat. You just need to be able to wipe them down every once in a while. So I'm going to use this easy peasy spray on wax, spread it out evenly onto the piece that you're working with, and then wait for it to dry and do it again. Super easy, and it's not a heavy duty sealer like I said, but these are decor items. So flip your items, make sure you cover everything and that you let it dry before you do a second coat, and that is it. So let me show you guys how they look. So first up is the decorative plate. You can stage it however you want. I like to use it as a tray. My knife block, it came out really pretty. The decor blocks, I only used one on the photo, but you guys get the gist of it. And then my tray, fun fact, Corey actually staged that tray with all the makeup on. And finally, my catch-all dish. Alright, that is it for today, guys. I hope that you enjoyed this video, and again, I want to encourage you to use the things that you have and get creative with them and try and think of new ways to use them throughout your house. And every time that you buy something to make a DIY project, I want to encourage you to use it in more than one way so that it's not wasteful. Because again, if you are constantly buying new items to make other things, then you're not only spending the time and effort, but you're also spending money on accumulating things that you only use once. So I hope you enjoyed it, and I hope it's beneficial for you guys. Don't forget to subscribe, follow us on Instagram, Facebook, Pinterest, and YouTube, of course. Don't forget to subscribe. I will have Corey on the next video. I know you guys probably miss him, but we'll definitely have another project together coming up soon. See y'all next time. Bye.
Was that you living in someone else's dreams?